Hi, good morning, everybody. Today's March the 27th of 2021. I wanted to come and share a dream with you I had this morning. It's pretty profound, I believe. It's symbolic, it's a symbolic dream. Okay, so the dream was there was a plate of fish, a huge, it was a big platter of fish. But so at the very bottom, there were fish that still had its scales on, and then on stacked on top of them and stacked on top of them, it's about that thick of a stack. The rest of the fish were filleted. They were, had the, not filleted, not coat, but the scales were off of them, and their heads were chopped off. And I'm sorry. I'm just looking at. I can just see it. I can see. I can see the plate of fish. Okay, so all of a sudden, as somebody put them, I can't remember if they were being had already been in a package for people to buy to eat them or what. But so there was this plate of fish, and they were moving. I kept staring at the fish, and I said, wait a minute, these fish are not dead. These fish are not dead. And the more I realized they weren't dead, the more they moved. And some of them was even, kind of like scratching or just flipping around a little bit. And I'm like, I thought these fish was dead. How are they moving? So I ended up taking all the fish that had no scales on. They had no heads and they had no scales on. And I was taking them off, looking down to the very bottom. And I said, well, I wonder if these down here, because the ones that had their heads were moved and stuff, there was nothing I could do for them. If they were alive, there's nothing I could do for them. They had already been skinned and their heads were gone. So they were still alive though. And but there was nothing I could do for them. So I took off the fish that were all on top, and I looked down and I saw these big fish, and they still had their scales on. They still had their heads, and they weren't really moving. But I said, you know what? I said, I wonder if these fish are still alive. So I picked them up and I put them in some water. And lo and behold, there was like 4 or 5 fish, a couple big fish and a couple little tiny ones. Like two big fish. There's a blue one and a white one. And then there was a little tiny fish. I think one was yellow. I can't remember the other colors, but there were like 3 little ones and 2 big ones. And it's just symbolic. I don't think the colors mean anything. So I got this like like those baby swimming pool. I happen to have one of those, and I put the fish in the baby swimming pool, and it started to like breathe. Well, they don't really breathe, but you know what I'm saying. It started to breathe under the water, however they do that, and started just splash around and swimming. And so I got the other fish because there was like I said, like 5 fish at the bottom, and they still had their scales and their heads. So I put them in the water. They came back to life. It's not like they were dead. They looked like they was dead, but they were not dead. So I put them in the water, and they started splashing around and stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, I was just so happy. And I said I wanted to keep those fish. I wanted to take care of those fish. So I made some kind of like like a koi pond, kind of like a koi pond. Well, it didn't look as beautiful as a koi pond by any means, okay? It wasn't. I just like dug this. I had this place, and I dug out this dirt and I filled it full of water, and I put the fish in there, and they were fine. And I must have walked away for a minute or something like that, because I came back and I looked, and all the water was gone. All the water was gone that was in little pond that I had made for them, something that came along, and on one end of it, they dug it out. So all the water emptied out. So all the fish was gone. That almost makes me want to cry because I could feel I was so sad. My fish that I loved. So I had a hard time finding them, and I couldn't find them all. All the little baby ones was gone. All the little fish, they were gone. I couldn't find them again. And I found two of the big fish. They had been washed out of this little pond thing I made, and they were on the floor. And one of them was laying there, and the white one, it was laying there, and its head was gone. Actually, more than half of its body was gone because a cat came along and ate it. And then I found the blue one, but it looked like it was dead for sure. It was all dried up and withered up. It just, I mean, not like all dried up and withered up like it was just bones and stuff, but you could just see it had been out of the water. You could see that it had definitely been out of the water. And I said, oh my gosh, let me just try to, save this fish. Let's see if this fish is still alive. So I put some more water back. I tried to fix that pond thing and put some more water back in it. I put the fish in it, and sure enough, it came back again. It started splashing around and came back in. And I hollered to somebody in the distance. I said, "Hey, go get me that baby pool. Bring it back. I got to put them in that pool." And he was just walking. He had no care, no desire to hurry up. I said, "Hurry! You've got to hurry. This isn't gonna last. This pond thing, it's not gonna last. I need that pool. Run, run! Go get it fast. Run!" And he was just as walking, it just as slow as he could. He didn't care. He didn't care about that fish. He didn't care about the other fish. It just died. And here he comes, just a walking with the pool. Just got it and just was walking just as slow as he could. It was like he's intentionally just as walking with no care, no nothing. I'm getting mad right now. I just want to punch him in the face. I'm telling you, I can't help it. I just want to punch him in the face. But what I did in my dream was I picked up shoes and I started throwing them. I said, "Run, run! What's wrong with you?" And I even said a very strong word to him. I said, "I hate you. I hate you. You don't even care about these fish." So he brought the pool to me, and I filled it full of water, and I put that fish in there, and I loved that fish, and I took care of that fish. Now, like I told you, this is a very symbolic dream. And who are the fish? The fish are the Christians that are not being taken care of properly. They're people who belong to God, who are drying up and withering away. They are not being cared for properly. They're not being kept properly. And we are called to care for all of them, all of us. We are the fish. A disciple like myself, I'm a disciple of God. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. And I'm called to be a fisher of men. Every single person who has ever received the salvation of God is called to be a fisher of men. You're not called to just receive the gospel of Jesus Christ and keep it to yourself. Okay? No. It's very selfish. We're called to go out and gather as many fish as we can, and we are to care for those fish. And they're not cared for properly. They can dry up. Now, when something came along, I had made like this little pond for it, and something came along and dug out the side of the pond and purposely let all the water out. I mean, It was, I think that's a representation, symbolic of the enemy, and the enemy comes in many forms. And who is our enemy? Our enemy is Satan and the fallen angels. That's the enemy. He's going to do everything he can to drain the pond. But when we see this happen, when we see our fellow brother and sister in Christ, when we see the fish laying out there on the dry ground, don't just assume they're dead, like the blue fish. Now the white fish, there was a big white fish, there was nothing I could do for it. The cat had came along and devoured it. Half the body was gone. There's no saving that fish. But the blue fish, the big blue fish, well, I looked at it. Now I could have just, by appearance, I could have just looked at it and said, oh, that fish is dead, and just walked away. But looked at it and I said, I wonder if that fish is still alive. Because it did not look alive. Believe me, it looked like it was dead. But I still held out hope for that fish. And I picked up that fish. And I called up to the next person, bring me that pool, bring me that pool. I couldn't walk away. I put the fish back in that dirt thing, and I fixed up the side, and I put it back in there, but I couldn't walk away from the fish to go get the pool, because I had to make sure that dirt didn't get taken away again and stuff, and then the water drained out again. I couldn't leave the fish, but I needed somebody else to go get me that pool and bring it to me so I could put that fish in the pool, and that person didn't care. They brought me the pool, but with no care, with no love, with no compassion. So I think that's a representation of someone who's really, really wicked and selfish. And God does not love someone like that. I'm telling you, God, the Bible says in very many places, God hates the wicked. Okay? That's why he wants us to change. So anyway, this is an incredibly symbolic dream, but it's really profound because, wow, that's a message, isn't it? So let's just take care of each other, okay? If you see somebody that's gotten out of the water, you don't just assume that they're done. Don't just assume that they're done for. And after their head's chopped off, there's nothing you could do about that situation. That's a done deal. They're dead. But if you see somebody and you think, wow, they're done. There's no helping them. Don't give up on them. Pick them up, put them back in the water. And I'm going to search myself. I mean, this message is for all of us, but I'm going to search myself in a deep way and make sure that I haven't just walked away from somebody, okay, that I thought was dead, all right? I'm going to make sure that I haven't made a judgment against somebody and said, oh, well, they're dead. They're dead. They can't be helped. I mean, I don't believe I have, but I'm going to search myself, as all of you should search yourself as well. I mean, I pray for everybody. There are some people that I think, wow, they're really lost, but I pray for them. I mean, I lift them up to the Lord and everything. I haven't just given up on them, okay? So, but I do think that this is a very symbolic, profound dream for all of us to take a really deep, closer look at our surrounding brothers and sisters, and look inside of ourselves to make sure we haven't just proclaimed somebody to be a dead fish when in reality they're not. All they needed was to be scooped up and be put back in the water. All right? So I love you. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless your animals. Goodbye.